It is a show pony exercise. Quentin Tarantino condemns the current state of the movie industry. Do tell, Quentin. Do tell. So basically, he is not happy with how things are being run in the movie industry. He's released 9 movies, and we know that he wanted to release a 10th movie. But instead of diving into his 10th movie, he is now actually thinking about diverting and doing a play instead. And holding off on this 10th movie simply because of how the state of things are, is what it appears to be. He says, oh, well, okay. So I'm going to read some of his quotes, but he's a fan of the F-bombs, so I'm going to be hopping over those. The whole process is a show and pony exercise as far as what movies have become. What the F is a movie now. Something that plays in theaters for a token release for 4 effing weeks. All right. And by the second week, you can watch it on television. I didn't get into all of this for diminishing returns. It was bad enough in 2019, and that was the last effing year of movies. He likes that F-bomb. And if you've seen his movies, you'll agree. That was a crap deal as far as I was concerned. The fact that it's gotten drastically worse, and it's a show and pony exercise. Now the theatrical release, and then in 2 weeks, you can watch it on this streamer and that one. Now, he is obviously frustrated, and it makes sense. There's a shifting of tides. There's a shifting of how things are done. And not everyone is happy about change. I'm somebody who treats change like it's my mortal enemy. Change in time. I treat them like they're my mortal enemies. But time, not in the way that you would think. Not like with aging. That's natural. I'm talking about if it says I have an hour till I have to leave, I'm like, great. How much can I cram in that hour without going over an hour? And so far, it's me 0, time 1 million. But to return back to Tarantino, he also criticized Marvel movies, saying that they're formulaic and suggesting they have contributed to the death of the classic movie star. Okay, here's where I'm going to step in. Now, Quentin Tarantino is one of my favorite directors. I'm going to step in here and say that on a whole, the system of storytelling is formulaic. You have Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3 in a movie. Generally, there's exceptions to every rule. And normally Act 1 is the introduction to the character, the call to action. Act 2 is the longest act. Generally, it's the adventure, it's what's happening. And then Act 3 is the resolution. So that is formulaic in itself. Now, I think he's talking more rigid, as far as like characters, and the fact that it's always, okay, one alien beam in the sky comes, they have to fight, defeat it. So in that instance, it's kind of like, a cookie cutter production. So I kind of get what he's saying with that. I also do enjoy the superhero movies. I was a big fan of the whole renaissance of them and the 10-year run that Marvel had leading up to Endgame, when they just knocked out the park. They have since declined and but I feel like part of that is the fact that Endgame was such a grand finish. They had spent 10 years building up these characters, these storylines, and finding ways to connect them, that anything coming after that had huge shoes to fill, and it wasn't going to be easy to just carry over that whole audience again. So, and then of course there was like the TV shows that they started throwing at you that you had to keep up with. And then it became too much. Even for me. So, but again, moving off Marvel, going back over here, I as someone who grew up, 90s, well, raised in the 80s, 90s kind of thing. The movie theater going experience. Movie theater going experience is still awesome. It's still awesome. It's that communal gathering of watching the movie, whether it's a horror movie, an action movie, a love story, a comedy. It really infuses community. And I do miss that. I go to the movies, but nowhere near as often as I used to. I'm way more busy than I was before. Movies cost more. I have a huge family. Sometimes if I want all of us to go, we kind of have to pick, like, okay, all right, there's like 3 movies coming out that we want to see in a month span. But there's a lot of us. I'm not dropping $100 3 times. So we need to pick one and go with it. Hey guys, quick aside. If you like what you're seeing and you like what you're hearing, feel free to give the video a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can always be up to date on what's going on. And for those who don't know, I'm a writer, director, and producer with my own series, The Zombie Chronicles, which you can also check out on Amazon Prime or Tubi. And I am offering a screenwriting intro class March 1st. This is a class for beginning writers, those who want to write, or for experienced writers who need a refresher. We're going to be covering the basics of screenwriting, storytelling, characters, and dialogue. And it's going to be online, so you can access it from anywhere. And those looking for a way to help support further, you can check out my Patreon, NXG Global Productions, where I discuss more movie reviews, access to clips of my writers group recordings, first look at behind the scenes, shout-outs on social media, posts, and more. I'm looking to grow the community and would love to have you be a part of it. Plug over. And then, of course, streaming has also spoiled us because it is like, oh, snap, I missed it. I'll just wait for streaming. Or you want to see it in the theaters, because there are movies that I want to see in the theaters because of the communal experience. Like a horror movie is so fun to watch in a group of people. So fun. A good comedy is fun to watch as well. But comedy right now is it's not on live support. It's definitely thriving, but it's thriving in different subgenres, like comedy and action movies, comedy and romance, but like a straight on its own comedy movies. They're out there, but they're just not at the pace as they were. So, but it's fun because like when laughing is infectious. So you're in a theater, everyone's laughing. Yay! So I get it. And he said that he was going to make one more movie, 10 movies, like one more movie, and then he's going to be done. But he doesn't even seem like he wants to make that 10th movie right now. Like, he doesn't like the state of the industry. I don't think it's changing, But like, think about it in this way. I'm going to just say 1900s because I don't have the exact frame. And I hope it's 1900s and not earlier. But at one point, ladies and gentlemen, they would go to pay like a little nickel or a pence or whatever, put in a little viewer, look through, and they were just kind of like, oh, watch a 1-minute little created film through the viewer like this way. Then there were stages, there's theaters, and then it was movie theaters, and then it was the pendulum has come back because everything's a cycle. So we've gone right back to looking at little screens again, except now it's in our palm of our hand. It's not, we don't have to go anywhere. And I don't know if movie theaters, with everything going on, will return to their former glory. At least not in my lifetime, but I don't see them dying because people still love movies and community. I just don't know how many there will be. You know what I mean? Like if there was 4,000 theaters, maybe it gets cut down to 2, which I'm not happy about. But again, it's really expensive. And I don't even know where before you could go and find like a really good deals, like $5 Tuesday or something, which I think some theaters still have, but even just that is a lot. And then there used to be matinee prices. Like, okay, I don't want to go Friday night where it's like 18, $15. Let me go before 3, right? Where I can pay like $7. And even that doesn't really exist anymore. So it's been a roller coaster. So for Quentin, he believes there needs to be massive changes made across the industry. And he proclaimed that television is an inferior medium to movies. That's not fair. They serve different purposes to me. A movie is like on a massive scale, Lord of the Rings, right? Or The Proposal, romantic comedy. Whereas television, you get many different points in times of a character's life. Like you get to watch a character grow. Like a character growing in a 3-act movie is great, and it's part of the change. But watching a character get to grow over 3 or 4 seasons, it's massive. So I think movies and TV have their place. And I don't like doing the whole, oh, what's inferior, da-da-da. No. What am I in the mood for? What am I feeling? What do I have time for? Movies are better for time because I'm like, great, I got 2 hours. I can commit to the story, walk through this character's life, see what's going on. Bada bing, bada boom. TV show, I'm like, oh, to get that 2-hour arc, I've got to get through 2 to 4 seasons. That's a lot more time that I personally don't have. So much as I love television, I don't get to watch it as often. But yeah, I digress. So do you guys agree with Quentin Tarantino? How do you guys feel about streaming? Like, do you guys miss watching it in theaters? Do you still go to theaters? How often do you go? At this point, it's just gotten to the point where like, I'm probably going to the theater like once every other month. Possibly. It's hard. It's hard.